Hello, good evening, and welcome to Thingamajig's Racing Channel. We're back with the Ultimate Racing League, and it's the Academy League 2 featuring the juniors. I called it the junior series. For Apex Cat Cup, ladies and gentlemen, rounds 3 and 4, and we're here at Sardegna. And there is some amendments from the last stream I did for these guys. They've mixed the Jags up, ladies and gentlemen. They're in the seniors are in the Group 3 Jaguars, and the juniors are in the Group 4 Jaguars. So we've got two separate races going on. No wonder I was so confused by the lap times last round, but I couldn't tell the difference between the cars, which says a lot about me. So we are we're better informed coming into these two rounds. Rounds 3, rounds 4. The first race, a 25-minute sprint all the way from lights to flag. No messing, just racing. Then we'll go on to race 2, which is a bit of a strategy game, using the mediums and the hard tyre throughout that race. We have two separate races going on with the seniors in the Group 3 Jaguars, and we have the juniors in the Group 4s. Right then, we have tables after 2 rounds, ladies and gentlemen, and they look a little bit like this. So the seniors at the top is Carlsberg on 40 points. Then in second we have Rufus on 37. Hoyland is third on 28 points, and the Saint in fourth on 25 points. Watesy is fifth on 23 points, ahead of Ginger, who has 21 points, the same as Fazzy in 7th on 21 points, and Ninky in 8th on 17 points. The junior table, at the top of that we have Frank on 18 points. In second we have Bubblegum on 16 points, and in third we have Steel on 13 points. Everything to play for with the Group 4 runners. Right then, these guys have qualified and have a placement on the grid. So let's have a look on how they did in qualifying, shall we? Okay, right then. I was waiting for a reply. No one bothered. So here we go then. Rufus. Ladies and gentlemen, Rufus has put it on pole again, I believe. Wasn't he pole sitter from round 1? And yes, so Rufus there sitting on pole in his Group 3 Jaguar F-Type. He's ahead of Carlsberg. Carlsberg and Rufus look like they're going to run away with this championship with equal pace between them. We are in for a hot fight. So Carlsberg second on the grid as it was in round 1. Third on the grid then, ladies and gentlemen, is Ginger. Ginger befell a bit of a problem last rounds. Couldn't get the points that he was hoping to get. So he's on the back foot, but he is reigning champion, and he is made of champion stuff. So I can imagine he will be going all in here at the windmills, ladies and gentlemen, at Sardegna, to give the others a run for their money. Ginger then, third on the grid. The next Group 3 car we come across, ladies and gents, is the Saint. And the Saint having a bit of a quiet first 2 rounds, but now starting to highlight his qualifying, and the colours on his Jag are sublime. And that's the same in fourth. In fifth, another Group 3 runner is Hoyland, ladies and gentlemen. Hoyland in his Group 3 Jaguar, sitting in fifth place. In sixth, then we have Watesy. Watesy sitting in sixth in his Group 3 Jaguar. They are the Group 3 runners in this round, ladies and gentlemen. And then we look back to our Group 4s, our juniors, being led by Frank as he is in the championship. He is ahead on track. So Frank there, trying to consolidate that lead. And another great qualifying from the Frank. Next, we have Krell, who wasn't with us for rounds 1 and 2, but Krell here for round 3. And he's looking very nice in the teal livery. So, super stuff from the Krell. Bubblegum is in 3rd of the Group 4 runners in stealth black, ladies and gentlemen. They won't see it coming when he comes, and he's going to take some scalps. Car 16 then is Bubblegum, and then in 4th for the Group 4 runners we have Steel. Steel coming to terms with the machinery, and always willing to give it a go. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is our field. It's a rolling start, and I'll waste no more of your time. Let's get our race on as Rufus leads Carlsberg away, and Frank leads Krell. And this all seems fair so far. Rufus leads them up to the first corner, as Carlsberg having a little look on the inside, seeing if there was any mistakes to be made, but they all survive nicely. Frank then ahead of Krell, and Krell looking like a little uncomfortable there, uncomfortably close. Krell goes for a move. Krell goes for a move as Frank outbrakes himself. Frank outbrakes himself, and then Krell takes the lead of the Group 4s as they're very close together. Bubblegum in that 3rd spot, staring at the back of Frank. Can Frank get back ahead of the Krell, or will he outbrake himself again? He's on the push at the moment, and Krell is, a little contact there, but Krell keeping control of the situation as Frank leads up, and he's trying to find a way, but Krell then manages to survive those couple of corners. Oh no, and the Saint is facing the wrong way. Rufus meanwhile under pressure from Carlsberg. Carlsberg looking to see if he can get a way through in the senior category. And Rufus at the moment planting that shag exactly where it needs to be, and frustrating Carlsberg to no end. Carlsberg championship leader at the moment, but it's very tight between himself and the Rufus. Ginger in 3rd ahead of Hoyland. Now we've got a little race here with Hoyland, Waitsy and the Saint. The Waitsy then making his way up through the pack as the Saint loses a little bit. Krell still leads from the Frank, and they're pulling away a little bit now from Bubblegum, but Frank seems intent to get the lead of the Group 4 category back, and Krell just keeping it pinned at the moment. Rufus pulling away from the Berg as Hoyland then leads away from this 3 wide virtually, as Ginger goes for a move. No, Waitsy pulls ahead and up and into 4th place now. Waitsy looking very feisty there in the Jag, and the Saint nearly collecting the barrier and finding himself on track with Ginger, wanting the same space at the same time. Oh, the Saint's a little late there on Waitsy, and there was contact, and Ginger just pulls away from that. The scene of that one, and the Saint replays the position back to Waitsy, who goes back on the hunt, but now Waitsy off of the track. Krell still ahead of Frank at the moment, and Bubblegum just seeing where things are going up ahead against the Krell and the Frank, but Krell seems to have it all under control, but Frank's very close. Frank very close indeed. He's a little wide coming out of that corner, and Krell a little safe down the straight. Carlsberg's closed back up to Rufus there. Looks like Rufus has made a small mistake as Carlsberg attempts to take the lead, but Rufus saying, no way, sir. Not today. And Carlsberg then in a very close look at the rear derriere of Rufus. Krell still leads from Frank in the Group 4 category as Carlsberg tried to send it, and there was contact there, very much like we saw with the Saint and Waitsy. It shows you how easy it is just to miss out on your break-in. And Carlsberg then losing a lot of ground to Rufus. Hoyland in 3rd, Ginger in 4th, trying to close back in on Hoyland. Waitsy and the Saint duking it out. for 5th and 6th. The Krell has a nice little space ahead of the Frank there, and the Frank has spaced himself out from Bubblegum. Steele, we saw, got a little bit of a wayward rear derriere. It doesn't look like, well, it's not showing up on ours that he's using any of the assists. So he might make it a little easier. Just slowly tone them down once you start getting used to the car. But he's doing fine. Who am I to judge? Rufus, meanwhile, playing cat and mouse with Carlsberg. Carlsberg closing in, then gets it a little excited, under braking, and lets Rufus pull away again. But again, Carlsberg looks like he's got the speed. He's just got to iron out the kinks, as Rufus still leads them around. We're nearly 5 minutes into a 25-minute race here, and Carlsberg and Rufus pulling away from Hoyland. Hoyland a 45.3 last time around. Ginger a 46.6. So Ginger needs to find a bit more pace to try and close in on our 3rd place into championship and in the race at the moment. Saint is in 5th place, and he seems to be pulling away from Waitsy at the moment. Waitsy was on fire in those first couple of laps. He's got to get back into the zone, ladies and gents. Krell still leading from Frank, but Frank has definitely closed the gap somewhat since we were last there. Krell managing a 52.8 last time out and a 53.7 from Frank. Nearly a second off of Krell's time, but this one looks a lot tidier, a lot faster, a lot neater, and should be closer to put the pressure on the Krell in his first round. He missed the first 2 rounds, so he's coming to try and pick up maximum points of where he can, as Frank in 2nd spot at the moment. And he got himself a 53.0 against a 53.4 there, so Frank definitely moving. Oh no, Steele's got himself ahead of Bubblegum. Bubblegum has had an issue, ladies and gentlemen. Bubblegum's had a bit of a small issue, and that's helped Steele get up and in position. Come on, Steele. He is having a moment, ladies and gentlemen, and he is smashing it. He's slaying, as the young ones would say. Frank all up and in Krell's business now. Krell having to defend a little bit now, as Frank starts laying on the pressure. It says Carlsberg's in the lead. Rufus is all the way. Oh no, Rufus has had a bit of a moment. So we knew that Carlsberg was applying a hefty bit of pressure on Rufus as they come into the corner, and it looks like Rufus just a little later on the brakes. Carlsberg slowing down. Oh! And Rufus then hitting the barrier and swinging out, catching Carlsberg. Carlsberg's picked up a bit of damage, but it looks like the distance between them... Oof, lucky Ginger and Hoyland getting through there. And taking a lot of relying a lot on the ghost system, which really didn't work for Carlsberg. But Carlsberg leads, and Rufus now finds himself with a big job to do. We know that Rufus and Carlsberg have a little bit more pace than those around them, but Ginger now up to 3rd, and he really has closed in on Hoyland, and they're going to make a fight for it into 2nd place. Ginger, his championship has started here. Krell under pressure still. Frank tried to slip it up the inside of the Krell. Side by side through that quite large chicane, let's call it. And again, Krell just slightly ahead of Frank, and these guys are racing so close together. So close together. It's unbelievable. Some nice tight racing, and it's holding Frank up now. And could this... Oh, Frank's found a nice line to get by, and it's Frank ahead of the Krell, it seems. Coming into the first corner, is it? Yes. And this time Frank gets it right and gets himself ahead of the Krell. Steele flying at the moment, still ahead of Bubblegum. Bubblegum chasing him down, as you see. Bubblegum having a bit of an issue on that last lap. Pushing, ladies and gentlemen, trying to find the edge. Carlsberg now, he's out for a cruise. No one around him. Nothing to worry about. Ginger's got himself ahead of Hoyland, but Hoyland doesn't like that. He's going to come back at him. These two racing each other can only help Rufus there in 4th place. The former leader of the race, sitting in 4th now after just a little tap with the barrier, but it shows. It shows just a little knock can send the physics mad in GT7. That's why we love it. Ginger then, looking very tidy. Could he put a fight for the Berg, or is the Berg far enough ahead? We're coming up to 9 minutes into this 25-minute race. You can see them. You can see them. And if you can see them, then you can chase them. And if you can chase them, then you can catch them, ladies and gentlemen. 44.1 last time around for the Berg, with Ginger doing a 43.9. Small steps in the right direction, as Ginger nearly lost the back end of his car, and Hoyland is very present in the rear derriere of Ginger. Rufus in 4th place, looking to make a comeback. The Saint in 5th. He's left Waitsy behind now in 6th, but Waitsy's just done his fastest lap time and is ready to mingle. Frank pulling away from the crowd. And the crowd just needs to keep the pressure on Frank at the moment. Frank doing his fastest lap with the 52.9, as the crowd manages a 53.5. But oh, there's a little knock. He got away with that, but man alive, it looked like he went into the barrier, but he's not picked up any damage, and it didn't ping his car into the other world. Bubblegum's back ahead of the Steel, but it's close. It's close. Bubblegum, after a small mistake, comes back with a 56.7 and a 56.0 last time from Steele. So I'm guessing Steele's made a mistake this lap to drop some time. He was doing some brilliant lap times there. Unbelievable stuff from the Steele. As at Carlsberg, oh no, it's Rufus, I think. Oh, maybe they've been lifting for the blue flags. Ginger, Hoyland's dropped back a little bit now, and Rufus is setting up Hoyland for a bit of a battle. And the blue flag's definitely out as Ginger closes up on Steele there and gets by nicely. Hoyland, this could be critical where Steele could end up. Rufus having a look up the inside. Hoyland says no sir, not there. And now he picks up a bit of a tow from the Group 4 car of Steele and gets through, and Rufus as well snips through, and everything is all good as they come across the first Group 4 car. Ginger though has been building up a lovely bit of a lead from Hoyland, as Hoyland has to watch his mirrors more than he can look up ahead. Carlsberg cruising a 43.1 last time around. Ginger 43.8. He's not going to catch him at that speed or pace. Waitsy, it's a fair one. It looks like lap 4 was his downfall. Frank is now under pressure. Krell finding a bit of pressure, a bit of pace from somewhere, and taking the fight to the championship leader, Frank. And Krell having a look this side, having a look that side, and he's got to remember Frank is a little hot. Gets a little hot in the corners, a big hit with the barrier, but he survives. Frank pushing his car beyond the edge and surviving as Krell tries to go for an underbrake. It's not quite there. Frank's still holding on to that lead, and now Krell's in the wrong side of him, but he's got back and there's contact, but I don't think there was anything he could do with that. Krell just needed to push himself back on the track, and Frank then still maintains the lead of the Group 4 runners as Krell goes all in, ladies and gentlemen. He's giving it some of that Norwegian push. And Frank just having to soak up the pressure so far. And Bubblegum, looks like he's just been lapped with Carlsberg, I think. That's the car we saw ahead of him. So Carlsberg is up Well, he's up. He's passed a couple of the Group 4 cars, and Ginger not far behind, but he just doesn't have the pace on Ginger at the moment to close the gap. He needs Carlsberg to make a mistake, and with no one there to race the Berg, he should be getting some absolute banging lap times in. We're at 13 minutes over in this race, and it's all going very nicely for Carlsberg, championship leader. Ginger in second place ahead of Hoyland, but Hoyland looks like he's coming back on the attack. He's pulled away a little bit from Rufus, but Rufus is doing the fastest lap we have seen in this race so far with purple sectors. The Saint in fifth, and the Saint isn't that far behind. He's been keeping it on the low key, but he isn't far behind the top four. And we've still got over 10 minutes to go in this race. Anything could happen. Waitsy there in sixth, and he's coming up to one of the Group 4 cars. Frank has pulled away significantly from the Krell since we last saw him. So Frank then building himself a bit of a distance. Krell went on a push, closed in nicely, but seems to have backed off a little bit now. And Bubblegum finding himself in the midst of the top four's argument and just trying to stay out of the way. Is that Ginger? No, that's going to be Rufus, just closing up to Bubblegum now and catching him in the straight, which is good for him. Ooh, there, Bubblegum not being flustered at all by the cars coming through. Very nice. In fact, going a little faster. He's lost a bit of distance from Krell and Frank, but still, every point counts at this stage, and still they're in fourth place. Carlsberg out on his own, the Lone Ranger, with Ginger in second, getting purples, but Hoyland really is looking to close in on the Ginger here. On board with Hoyland then, as we come near the end of the lap, as he chases down second place Ginger. He's got Rufus behind him, but he doesn't have to worry about Rufus at the moment. He's not that close. But all his attention on the car, how it feels in the corners. Just trying to steal a little bit more in the braking zones than Ginger, just to try and close in and put a bit of pressure on. It's all about getting up and in their business. That's when they start making mistakes, or if you significantly start closing down leads and they feel like they need to start pushing. Hoyland, lovely and tidy through these sectors. Frustrating, seeing the car you want to get past, neither getting closer nor further away. Good sectors though is Hoyland at the moment. Swinging the jag, and this is what he's looking for. A small mistake from Ginger, absolutely closing it down between the two of them, and now Ginger in trouble from the Norwegian. Or Danish. I think that's Norwegian. So Ginger now reigning champion. Oh, both of them take a bite of the Barry R, but Hoyland has got damage. Hoyland has got damage, and Rufus could come into play here. Rufus isn't that far away. He's been chipping away at it. Oh no, Hoyland dropped it. With that damage, he must have asked too much from the Jaguar to take him through the corner, and Ginger then is under threat from Rufus. And Carlsberg swinging it out, ladies and gentlemen. A 43.9 last time around from the Berg, under no pressure, just keeping it tidy, keeping it together. 17.5 minutes into the race, and Ginger under pressure from the pole sitter. Rufus is back on the scene. Poor Hoyland. He'll be absolute, but his car was damaged. He showed suspension damage, and he obviously tried to take it into a corner as Rufus sends it. He's licked the stamp, ladies and gentlemen. He missed the postman because Ginger still survives in second place, and Rufus has to wait for another corner after smashing the lap time there. The fastest lap, 42.5 from Rufus there. He's dug deep. Many's ahead could go down after being in the lead and losing it the way he did. Very, very unfortunate. A little tap of a barrier and it pinged him across the road, and he picked up maximum damage for a short while. It demoted him down to fourth, but he's been chipping away, ladies and gents, and now he's up to third after Hoyland's mistake, and the Saint is now in play. Waitsy in sixth. We've got Frank just ahead of Krell, and Krell has really taken the fight in the junior series to Frank in this one. Frank has not been able to rest at all during the race. He's been on the push because Krell's really taken the fight to him. Bubblegum had early issues, dropped behind the steel, and he's had to just keep popping out those lap times to try and get himself ahead of the steel there and try and close up to Krell, but Krell, there's a lot of barriers here as Bubblegum finds out, and Steel there. Oh, unfortunately, last lap from Steel was not his best, but other than that, he's been on target with Bubblegum here. These two are a couple of seconds off of Krell and Frank. Frank losing a bit of time last time around, giving Krell an opportunity to close in. Rufus is ahead of Ginger. It's not quite done yet though. Ginger up the inside, but Rufus still ahead. So Ginger giving it all the beans, but Rufus defending like a lion and holding on to that second place ahead of the Ginger. Hoyland getting back on the pace. He needs an issue ahead at this point. 5 minutes remaining in this race, and the Saint does look to be closing in on Hoyland at the moment. Ginger then, he'll be very displeased losing that second, and he'll be looking to put the pressure on. We've seen Rufus isn't infallible himself with that early knock with the barrier, demoting him down to fourth. So if Ginger can stay on the tail of Rufus and try and push him into a mistake, as we saw Carlsberg do earlier in the race, and Carlsberg now mixing it up with Krell and Frank, and gets through nicely. So Krell then dropping back from the Frank a little bit, and that was maybe to let the lead cars through. That can't be Bubblegum. No, that must be Steel. So they found Steel having a couple of really bad laps of late. We've got 4 minutes left to go. Carlsberg in a league of his own as Rufus and Ginger do battle for second place. Ooh, but Ginger gets it wrong. Ooh, and I think someone's just trying to stay out of the way. Maybe Steel, and Rufus then pulling away a little bit more from Ginger as Ginger nearly loses the rear derriere of his Jaguar. And Carlsberg slapping, as he did, I think, in round one. Waitsy in the chat. So frustrating. Hang on, there's a love art in the way. So frustrating. Race 2. Oh no, we'll have to see what happens. So Carlsberg, at the moment, holding strong, getting purple sectors. Wants to take that fastest lap away from Rufus. Rufus now, I was going to say he's got a bit of clean air, but he's got the Krell behind. Krell trying to get out of the way. And Ginger will be open. That will close him up a bit, but it looks like Rufus is driving beyond the limits and is untouchable at the moment. Ginger might just have to settle for that third place and be grateful for it, as Hoyland there trying to get past one of the Group 4 cars. And the Saint, that will help the Saint indeed, but the Saint now has got the same issue, but the Saint finds the Group 4 car along the straight and is by, and the Saint now very close to Hoyland. Hoyland has to keep this tidy as a whistle. for the final few laps of this race, because the Saint is on to him. Waitsy in 6th place. We've got Frank still leading the Group 4 cars, but it's an absolute cluster of boggles down here. He's having to try and guess who these cars are he's got to let past and who Krell is. Krell just not close enough to be a concern as another Group 3 car goes by. That's Ginger, I think. Goes past Frank. Krell still staying very relevant in the Group 4 battle, but Frank at the moment seems to be doing okay, sending it, but Krell very close indeed. The same then against Hoyland. Hoyland just trying to maintain, I think, bring it on home, and Ginger has lost sight somewhat of Rufus. Rufus, that's where he had his moment, gets through there gingerly, and Carlsberg takes that fastest lap away from Rufus. And Carlsberg laying it down for all to see who he thinks should be champion. But we saw this last season, there was a drop-off. There was a huge fall-off, a Piastri-style drop-off from Carlsberg from leading that championship. And a couple of the guys caught him up, but Ginger was the one that prevailed in the end. So Carlsberg's got to maintain this throughout the season. But again, another great start from Carlsberg. Rufus, a huge threat to the Berg this season, one thinks, and Ginger cannot be counted out. I think he's still got a few hundred miles to introduce himself to that Jaguar, and then when he's introduced, he's going to be a real weapon of mass destruction. Hoyland looked handy, if not quite on the edge. He's come across the Krell, and he gets through nicely in the braking zone. Oh, it's the final lap, ladies and gents. Where is the line? Oh, Waitsy's just crossed it, sorry. Who's next? So it's going to be... Oh, Steele's crossed it as well. Bubblegum will be the next to cross. For 3rd place, a podium. No less. Very good. From Bubblegum. Hopefully the juniors field will fatten up a little bit. I know there's a couple of people out there interested in the junior series, and I say get in on it, get racing, get them while they're young. So Bubblegum then crossing the line, take a podium. Who's next? Could be Carlsberg to take the win, ladies and gentlemen. A fine drive, put the pressure on Rufus. And after that, it was all plain sailing for the Berg. He would have liked for Rufus to finish a little further down the field, as he knows that's his closest competitor. Rufus then brings it home for 2nd place, with Ginger a fine podium. Hoyland survives in 4th. Oh, no, who was that? Frank's just sent it into the stratosphere, and Krell takes it away from him right at the very end. We'll go back. Yeah, the Hoyland's cross, Saints cross. Right, I'm going to... Hang on. So what's going on? Oh, he clipped the curb. Oh, my word. Frank, all the hard work he's put into this for the win, and Krell comes through. Unlucky for Frank, very lucky for Krell, and Krell takes the Group 4 win. Beautiful stuff. Frank, unfortunately, in 2nd place. Oh, soul destroying for Frank. Oh, just hit that curb wrong, didn't he, at the end? How unfortunate for Frank. Loses out on the win, and Krell, on his debut this series, has taken the win. He raced last season, but this is his first event in this format, and Krell then taking the win from Frank. Oh, Frank really lost the win there, hitting that curb the way he did. How unfortunate. Bubblegum on the podium with Steele grabbing 4th. Carlsberg takes the win of the seniors, with Rufus in 2nd. Ginger coming home in podium position. Hoyland in 4th. The Saint in 5th, and Waitsy grabbing himself 6th. My word, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the tyre wear wasn't that bad there, so I imagine in the next race they won't be using the hards too much. I'm not sure what the rules are on the pit stops. So we'll have a quick look of what the grid is. If it's reverse. Because last time I even got confused with the grid, but I suppose if there were Group 4 cars there, then they just switch those. Right, let's have a look. Let me pause it because I'm an old man. Let's get all the info up. Here we go, yeah. So it's just the Group 3 cars have reversed, and I guess the Group 4 cars have reversed. So Waitsy then is on pole position this time around, and we saw early doors in race 1. He was actually on pace and feisty with them, mixing it up, some may say. He was baking a cake. And hopefully this time he can get away from the strife that may be caused behind him, and build up a little bit of a lead here. He's starting on the medium tyres, so he's saving the hards till later. The Saint in 2nd, and he had the pace to stay with that top 4, if you remember. So the Saint is not one to be counted out here, and he's also starting on the medium tyres. Hoyland, starts 3rd. He's going for hard tyres. He's getting them hard tyres out of the way early doors. Ginger also opting for a hard set of tyres in this first part of round 4. Rufus has opted for a medium set. He wants to get through and ahead early doors, as Carlsberg has gone for a hard set of tyres. Moving on to the Group 4s, Steele has opted for a hard set of tyres early doors, as has Bubblegum and Frank as well. All the Group 4 cars, it looks like we lost Krell after his win. So I'm not sure. Maybe the race ran on late. I know they have to go to bed, and we're in different time zones. Could be all sorts. So unfortunately, Krell not here to represent in his in the second race. And Waitsy leads them away then on a lovely set of medium tyres. 25 minutes on the clock, ladies and gents, for some pure fun racing. And he goes ahead of the Saint with Hoyland in 3rd, Ginger in 4th, Rufus. It's all good leading up to the first corner, and Steele ahead of Bubblegum at the moment on those hard tyres. And he makes it into the first corner, as does everyone else. These guys all on the hard tyres. Frank looking ready to make a move early doors into the braking zone, but he thinks better of it. No, he does commit. He's side by side now. Frank trying to get a move done on Bubblegum, but it's not there. Waitsy has pulled away nicely. Hoyland ahead of Carlsberg here. And Carlsberg's on those hard tyres. If he can, and the Saints slip down on the mediums, and we've got Rufus and Ginger. Ginger's on the hards, but Carlsberg has had an absolute blinding start up into 3rd, but those hard tyres are going to struggle. Hoyland also on the hard tyres, and it's only Waitsy that seems to have got the medium tyres working from the off, and away he goes. Go, my sweet birdie, fly. Fly, my bird, fly. Hoyland then ahead of Carlsberg. The Saint, a big job ahead of him as he watches Carlsberg meet the barrier, and he can't get past him because his rear derriere wants to spin out sister. His medium tyres still not quite up to scratch as Ginger gets overtaken by Rufus. No, Rufus getting stuck behind the Saint, and Ginger slipped one up the inside of Rufus there, and now he wants to lay one on the Saint. The Saint struggling with these medium tyres. Carlsberg on the hards with a bit of damage. Hoyland in 2nd, and Waitsy is absolutely reeling out there. Steele is ahead of Frank. Frank has got the move done on Bubblegum, and Steele has stolen a march on those guys. He's got a bit of space to work with, a little bit of wriggle room, and Steele then making the most of it with the clean air away from Frank. And Bubblegum, not to be outdone, is staying with the Frank there. The hard tyres treacherous for grip in the braking zones. Steele gets it a bit wrong, and Frank and Bubblegum both come flying through. Frank heavy on the brakes. Bubblegum commits all in and makes it through. Frank then, he's slowing down for Steele. Frank, gentleman's agreement, beautiful stuff. I think Steele had made the mistake before he got to the corner, but Frank saving himself from any headache with the stewards and letting Steele through. This gives Bubblegum a great opportunity for a win here. Waitsy as well, looking good. Hoyland still on those hard tyres ahead of the Berg. The Berg looking very racy, as is Rufus on the tail of the Saint. The Saints mediums, though, up to scratch now. Carlsberg's on the hards, as is Hoyland. They're somehow, some way, staying ahead of the Saint, but Saint and Rufus's tyres will be getting grippier and grippier as we go along. The Saint there, losing the rear derriere of the Jaguar, and it sends him careering into the barrier. We've seen it so often with this car and track combo. They're unsettled, they're unregulated. These cars are wild. It should be the Apex Wildcat Cup. These Jaguars are hard to tame, as these are all finding out at the moment. Hoyland in second, keeping Carlsberg at bay. And there we go. Hoyland meeting the same barrier, and Carlsberg comes through as Rufus now tries to go for one on the braking with the medium tyres. Can't quite get it to stick, and Carlsberg then stays just about ahead, but he has a problem with the tyres. They're not mediums, and Rufus are, and he's through. Hurrah! So Rufus then up and into second, and Waitsy is enjoying life at the moment, out in the lead. But there's a lot of noise happening behind him that could be coming his way soon. There is a storm on the front, and it is called Rufus. Carlsberg then third, seeing how long he can stay with Rufus, but Rufus's tyres are optimum. They are in the zone. They are doing what they do best. Hoyland in fourth after his meeting with Barrier, and the Saint as well having a moment. Ginger still relevant on those hard tyres. Bubblegum out in the lead. Frank is back ahead of the Steele. It looks like Steele has had an issue, and he's gone in and made pits. No, he's gone in and put the medium tyres on. He's had enough of those hards, and he's going to try and get a jump on Frank and Bubblegum by going on to the mediums very early. Let's hope they can last the way. Let's hope they can take it all the way, Jim. Bubblegum then on those hards, and he is really struggling for grip out there in the Group 4 car, and Frank has got a little bit of a groove on here. It seems like he's finding his lines a little better than Bubblegum at the moment. Bubblegum finding himself sliding out wide in each and every corner. He must be aware Steele's gone on to the medium tyres. Waitsy still leads. Rufus is heading his way. Carlsberg trying to stay on the rear derriere of Rufus, but he is on the hard tyres. Hoyland has dusted himself off. He's back in the action. We've got Waitsy, no! Waitsy, sir, what happened to thee? We've seen it many a time. And Waitsy then, the back end just going away from him, and that hands the lead to Rufus, but he is yet to use the hard tyres. As Carlsberg then goes up and into second, and Waitsy finds himself in third, but and again a little rub with the barrier, and that one has caused a bit of damage, and that's let Hoyland through. The Saint is the next, and Waitsy then, Bubblegum does go in. Bubblegum gets rid of those hard tyres, and Frank continues on. Frank's taking the hard tyres all the way. Steele, how far behind is he of Bubblegum? Can Bubblegum get back out? Looks like Steele's there in the final corner as they change the tyres and they release Bubblegum. It looks like he might be safe from the Steele, and Bubblegum then back out in 8th place, and he's got to plant some lap times. He's got to lay it down to try and jump the Frank, who's taking the hard tyres a little further. Rufus is your leader of round 4, ladies and gents. With Carlsberg, we could see a duel later on, a duel of fates, as you may say. as Carlsberg on those hard tyres, Rufus on the mediums. But I think last time the medium guys just absolutely sent it, and they came out still in the lead on the hard tyres, but with enough space to not be concerned with what was going on behind. Carlsberg goes in to get rid of those hard tyres. So does Hoyland. The Saint's already on the mediums. He stays out. Waitsy stays out. That's Waitsy up to third now, as Carlsberg, Hoyland and Ginger all go in to get rid of the hard tyre. And Rufus has a nice lead at the moment. And remember, he does need to use the hard tyre at some point in the race. Frank continued on with his hard tyres as Bubblegum went to the mediums. And Steele did a lap earlier, or I'm not sure when. Yeah, it must have been lap 2. So Frank, how long dare he stay on the hard tyres? He's coming in now. He's coming in now. Now Bubblegum was ahead of him on track when Bubblegum pitted. And where is he? He's on that straight. Where's Frank? He's not showing up or not. So he's not even got to his pit lane yet. So Bubblegum easily retaking position from Frank as he pulls up to his blocks. Bubblegum moves away and into the lead again. Bubblegum looking for a win here today. And Frank out on the pits. Not that far behind, but they're both on medium tyres. And if Bubblegum can find a bit of pace out there, he could take the win here. But we've got a long way to go. We're only 9 minutes in, just under. Rufus goes fastest of everyone so far in this race, as the Saint in second, Waitsy in third. Hoyland is out onto the medium tyres, as is Carlsberg, behind Hoyland. Hoyland was behind when he pitted. Interesting. Somehow Hoyland making a jump on the berg. Is there fueled? See, Carlsberg has fueled up. Hoyland hasn't. Fully, anyway. And Ginger's had to put fuel in. Fuel levels all look similar in the Group 4s. Maybe they're not a concern. At the moment, Bubblegum, he's got a healthy lead, but Frank is absolutely landing some good lap times. Rufus out there is sending it, the Saint. So Hoyland, Carlsberg and Ginger are racing Rufus, but after Rufus has pitted, they've got to really keep some good lap times in there and not let Rufus build up a big enough gap to pit and have distance on his hard tyres. These guys have got to be on it. And it looks like that's what Rufus is planning on doing. Getting a nice distance. Oh, and someone's facing the wrong way. Waitsy is having an absolute nightmare. Oh no, and even worse, he got caught up by the barrier. I can see what he said in the chat. Frustrating second race. Now Waitsy can see Hoyland in his rearview mirrors. Now Carlsberg and Ginger all come hurtling towards him. And Waitsy then, he's got to clear his mind. Just 50% of the driving game is being etched in with your brain. Not having other thoughts, just concentrating, apex, brake, accelerate. It's all you should be thinking about in the race. Try not to be distracted by other things. First and foremost is the lap. So Waitsy then trying to dial it back in. For now, out there, leading the way and doing it in style. With some very, very impressive lap times. 42.9 for Rufus last time around. The Saint 45. And he's just put a lap on, I guess, Steele. with Waitsy in third being caught by Hoyland, and the Berg, somehow the Berg putting in a huge amount of fuel, and yeah, Hoyland's fuel might not make the distance. It's one to watch. We're not quite halfway yet. His fuel's about halfway, so maybe the likes of Carlsberg and Ginger overfueled in their pit stops. Bubblegum still leads from the Frank, 54.8 for Bubblegum. Oh no, Bubblegum falling to that barrier, and Frank just a sniff at it, but not quite contact. And Bubblegum, with that damage, has found that lead has been very much closed in, with the Frank now hot on his tail, and with a bit of about a second of a lap advantage. Bubblegum's got a big fight ahead. The damage is done on his car, it's gone, and now he can really knuckle down, concentrate on his lines, and his braking obviously, and try and maintain ahead of the Frank. As a lead car, Rufus, I assume, comes through. He does. Rufus just trying to circumnavigate these Group 4 cars as they're racing over the lead, obviously, and still trying to grab a bit of a tow from Rufus there. Very, very mature racing from Bubblegum. And Frank then lining him up, I'm afraid. Does seem to have a bit of an advantage around here with speed. He's getting a bit more speed out of the Jaguar than Bubblegum can manage at the moment. And this is the issue. You know where your boundaries are. And I'm sure Bubblegum would love to go faster, but feels he might throw it off, as we've seen Frank do. So Bubblegum liking the consistency, but Frank getting a bit better of the lap times. He's going for a move here. And is he going to break it into the first corner? He does. Can he survive it? Oh, and Bubblegum goes full on into the barrier there, unfortunately. And Frank then is up and back into the lead of the race. Bubblegum down into second, Steele in third. We've got Rufus leading the seniors with the Saint in second and Waitsy in third. Still hasn't been caught. 46.0 last time around from Waitsy. Hoyland at 45.9. Carlsberg at 44.9. He's managed a 42.9 though as Carlsberg. And again, taking the fastest lap away from Rufus, but he's so far away from him on track. Even after pit stops, I feel Rufus is going to get out ahead of at least these three. And Saint is the only man really that can take a fight to Rufus at the moment. And even then, they're a whole straight apart. So Rufus has just sent this one all the way. Waitsy keeping it very interesting down here for the battle of the podium. Hoyland and Carlsberg closing in. And where is Ginger? Ginger losing time out there as well in his pit stop. He's going to be trying to close up as he comes across one of the Group 4 cars. Steele again, another podium. Looking strong. Losing too much distance in that championship. Rufus then still another lap on the mediums. 10 minutes to go, less than 10 minutes to go, and Rufus yet to make a pit stop for the hards. I think he's going to be out ahead of everyone. The Saint might be in the mix. Hoyland's got it past Waitsy. Oh, Waitsy's lost it to Hoyland and the Berg. And Waitsy yet to use the hard tyres also. And he's got the Ginger somewhere in the distance there. And Waitsy knows not to put those hards on yet. Frank leads the Group 4s with Bubblegum in second place as the lead cars come up to put laps on them, and Steele there in third. So the big question really is, when are Rufus and the Saint and Waitsy going to make their pit stops? And where will it put them? I think Rufus will be still in the lead with a nice distance. Hoyland and Carlsberg have really got to haul ASS if they need to take the fight to the Rufus. And Hoyland going a little wide out of that corner, giving Carlsberg half an opportunity. A sniff and a whiff of some clean air up the inside. And Hoyland now under pressure. He's our podium specialist, isn't he? He just seems to find himself there in that third spot each race. The blue flags are out. I think that's for Steele, just ahead, as the Saint has just put a lap on him. And Hoyland being a real pain for the Berg. On board with the Berg as we dance on the bumper of Hoyland so far in the Group 3 category, fighting for a podium. Although the two, Carlsberg having to slow it down. Hoyland, I don't know if he was late on the brakes and just had to sit on the brakes, but it nearly caught the Berg out there. And yeah, that was a close one. The two ahead of us have got a pit. I mean, not Hoyland, but the two ahead of those have got to make a pit stop. We think that Rufus is going to be out ahead when he does make his pit stop. The Saint is probably going to be behind these guys, and he's going to be on the hard tyre. But so's Waitsy. So tight around here. Oh, and nearly Carlsberg losing the back end as well. You can see what a knife edge these cars are really on. And Waitsy there in fifth. Got to see a big sideways Carlsberg. Hoyland then in third, and he gets a bit of a respite as he comes across Bubblegum on track in his Group 4 car, and makes it past without much delay really. And Bubblegum then jumping in to try and get a tow, and then Carlsberg also coming across. I'm guessing it's Bubblegum. Yeah. Bubblegum then losing a bit of distance to Frank. Frank absolutely sublime in the Jag. And there we go, Rufus pitting now. We're coming up to 20 minutes. We're just past the 19-minute mark. Rufus is in. Will the Saint also do the same? Hoyland set to take the lead of this race, or is Rufus out ahead? Rufus then having to change to the hard tyres. Maybe a splash of fuel. The Saint has done very well with fuel. Don't think he'll have to put any fuel in. He does go in though. Hoyland has got the Berg breathing down him, and Rufus is out, but he's on the hard tyre. What can he do? He's going to maintain, isn't he? The Saint then does drop behind Hoyland and the Berg. And Waitsy, who's not pitted yet, trying to get, he has got past one of the Group 4 cars. And Ginger then ahead of the Saint, and the Saint on the hard tyre. This is going to be a tough one for the Saint. All of these guys went to the medium tyres early doors in the race, so the Saint really he needed to do that work early in this race, and he hasn't built up a big enough buffer, and now he's found himself chasing. There may be Waitsy still yet to pit and put hard tyres on. Hoyland then has caught up with Frank on track. Hoyland through, and so is the Berg. These two chasing down Rufus, who's on a hard set of tyres now. He's trying to find where the grip levels are, but he's got a great amount of distance. He's done all his hard work early doors, and now he's just got to cruise on home and hope that he built up enough distance in the first part of the race, and it seems like he has. So Rufus then, ruthless Rufus in these second races, he slays. As Hoyland pushing as hard as he can, and Carlsberg behind him giving him a push as well. Waitsy yet to pit. His fuel is very low. Ginger moves ahead of Bubblegum, and the Saint on those hard tyres is going to struggle to close in on Ginger, and he's just looking to make a move on Waitsy. When Waitsy comes in, Waitsy's into the pit lane, And that should put the Saint ahead. Frank leads from Bubblegum, and Bubblegum from Steel. And Rufus, at the moment, all is good on the Western Front, sir. Rufus has kept it clear of the other traffic. He's got the hard tyres on, so he's at a disadvantage. But Hoyland and Carlsberg, with their hands full with each other, I don't think they can close the gap. I don't think they can close the gap. We've still got 3 minutes, or just under 2.5 minutes of racing left here. But unless Rufus does something absolutely mental, like throwing it into a barrier, then Hoyland and Carlsberg look to be in second and third. And they haven't decided that order amongst themselves yet, as Hoyland under immense pressure. Ginger in 4th place. So race for Ginger, really. I don't know, something delayed him in the pit stops. He seemed to come out a lot further than everyone else. Don't know if he pitted up too much, fueled up too much. I suspect Carlsberg did as well, to lose the position to Hoyland. But Hoyland, I think, more than enough fuel there to get to the end. His back end didn't want to sit flat then. I thought Carlsberg was going to pick up, but he's going to get momentum down this straight. Hoyland could be in trouble into the braking zone here. No, Hoyland does just fine against the berg. Rufus at the moment a 44.4 with his hard tyres. And Hoyland a 43.9. So it's not that big of a difference, is it, between them? Ooh, Hoyland's fuel has started flashing. But this should be their final lap. Ooh, no, yeah, this should be their final lap. Oh, it's tight. They might have to do a lap after this, so Hoyland may have to slow. No, I think there'll be enough fuel to do a lap after this. I don't think the fuel's anything to worry about, but the back marker is. The back marker is. They go through. Hoyland goes through, and Carlsberg trying to push the back marker out of the way. Oh, how rude. Trying to get a move done on Hoyland, but the back marker, the Group 4 car, was in his way, and he took a battering, and now Carlsberg sends it up the inside. Hoyland was a little open. He left the door open, tried to close it a little too late, and Carlsberg then is up and into second, and he has to. No, it looks like he slowed down. He slowed down to let Hoyland back through again. I don't know. I think that was a legit move. I think Hoyland had left the door open and tried to close it a little too late, but Carlsberg has lifted and let Hoyland through, just in case, just to avoid any kind of stewards issues. Again, Rufus then will have to do another lap, but his fuel is fine. Rufus then crossing the line, dead on to no, he's done it. It's a win. Hoyland comes home in second, somehow stays ahead of Carlsberg, who comes home in third. Ginger in 4th, goes past Frank there. It looks like Frank is going to get the win as well. So Ginger grabbing himself 4th, and Frank taking the win. 2 wins here. The Saint comes home 5th ahead of Waitsy, who had to put on those hard tyres at the end there, and Steele finishes in 3rd. Bubblegum brings it around the final corner to get himself a fine 2nd place. Great drive from Bubblegum, led for a while there. And then Waitsy coming home in 6th. Paul Waitsy, if he had any luck, it was only bad. Comes home in 6th. So that's round 3 and 4, ladies and gentlemen, at Sardegna. And Rufus takes a win, as and Carlsberg did in the round 3. Hoyland getting a great result there in 2nd place, and a great battle with Carlsberg at the end of that race. Carlsberg, not sure he needed to lift. I think it was okay, that move, but Carlsberg just being sure and lifting and letting Hoyland back through again, finishing in 3rd. Ginger in 4th. The Saint in 5th. He was kind of in no man's land with his strategy, really. And that's all he could have probably done. Waitsy in 6th, led early doors, but didn't optimise that lead. made a small mistake, and then after that, it was a sugar fight all the way. Frank takes his second win, and Frank absolutely lording it in the junior ranks. Bubblegum in second, with Steel bringing it home in third. Oh no, Frank didn't get the win, did he? Krell got it. Sorry, I apologise. So Frank getting a win, but sharing the wins here for rounds 3 and 4. Fantastic stuff from the juniors and the seniors, ladies and gentlemen. I think you could agree. They're doing lovely. Simply lovely. So that was the Apex Cat Cup. I said it right. For the Ultimate Racing League, their Academy Junior Series. Well, it's officially the Academy League 2 featuring the juniors. Rounds 3 and 4. Thank you for those that organise these races. You are awesome. It's a lot of work. It takes a village. Thank you for those that take part in these races. It is always a huge enjoyment watching you guys go round in circles. And thank you to you guys that watch it. I appreciate you. I don't care if you like. I don't care if you subscribe. Just watching is fun times. Thank you. Listening to this dude babble on about nothing. I appreciate you. You sadomasochists. Anyway, that's it. There's no more. There's no more to talk about. I like the Williams livery, by the way. I don't mind the pale blue Barclays. I know everyone's debating the Barclays part, but I think it looks all right. Tiru, peace and love. Peace and love.